Let's talk about Monday Night Raw, September 25th, 2023. Starts and ends the same way every week. It's been the same for 6 months. Now people are starting to pay attention. People are starting to pay attention. Good. You're not just a hater anymore for mentioning it's the same people over and over and over and over and over again. But we're going to try to get through this thing pretty quickly. All right. First, news and notes. People are talking about Jade Cargill. Supposedly her name is supposed to be getting changed. WWE filed a trademark for a new name, but it doesn't matter because they have 100 people in NXT who don't have names. So until we actually see her on television, you know, I still just kind of shrug at the idea of her even coming to WWE. But everybody running around like, oh, this is going to be her new name. I think the interest is it might be her daughter's name, you know, but I don't know. So in any event, I don't know. We won't know until we see it. And I'm not too hung up on seeing it. It is what it is at this point. When it comes to Triple H, I don't really trust that she's going to get the best that she could get out of this situation anyway. All right, let's get through this show. Cody Rhodes cut a promo to start the show, of course. You know, welcome to Monday Night Raw, blah, yay. Something wrong with Cody's hair. It looks silverish now for some reason. Or either that or it was in my television. It didn't look blonde. It looked silver or white. In any event, he talked about Jey Uso on Monday Night Raw. How him and Jey aren't exactly best friends, but he wasn't going to sit back and let Jey get jumped by multiple people. And he certainly was proven right when Jey didn't join Judgment Day, but said that they aren't in the third inning anymore, meaning that when they talk about somebody has to go over to SmackDown, he's teasing that it's him. Of course it's going to be him. Who else would it be? Anyway, Judgment Day comes out there, why you in our business? We run Monday Night Raw, blah, 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 blah. Everything has to be about Cody. They claim Jey Uso was disrespecting them. Then they get into an argument. They're going to beat up Cody. Jey Uso comes out there. They're still going to beat them up because now it's 3-on-2. And then so Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens come out there, so then they back off. At this point, JD McDonough, he shows up with some chairs. All of a sudden, everybody wants to fight. So they run to the ring, but Damian Priest lollygags. He hesitates. This allows Judgment Day to get beat up in the ring. When Damian Priest finally gets in the ring, it's him by himself. He tries to fight, ends up getting beat up. Backstage, he's pissed about it. He gets in JD McDonough's face, tells him he'll never be a member of Judgment Day. Why is he even hanging around them? Get away from them. Beat it. Get out of my sight. So, at that point, Finn Balor's like, look, he just needs to calm down. We'll take care of it later. So then that takes us to the main event, where, again, for like the 500th time in a row, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn wrestled Damian Priest and Finn Balor. This time it's for the tag team titles. Good match. Nobody can complain about the matches in terms of the quality of the matches. We complain about the frequency of the matches. These matches happen way too frequently. And of course, it's the same thing every time. But they did a better job of actually putting forth chaos this time. They had Dominic Mysterio come out there. Jey Uso earlier in the night said that he was going to keep his eye on the Judgment Day, just in case Dominic decides he wants to get involved. So as Dominic starts to interfere and distract, Jey Uso comes out there. As Jey and Dominic fight, JD McDonough came out there. So JD and Dominic are jumping on Jey. Cody runs out there. Now all of a sudden there's referees and officials pulling people in every which way. They're distracted from the match. JD McDonough blasted Sami Zayn in the head with the belt while the referee's distracted and literally everybody else. I think Finn Balor ends up pinning Sami Zayn. After that, things devolve again as people continue to attack each other. They're really building hard for this Survivor Series War Games match. What Triple H seems to be looking at is Judgment Day versus this menagerie of baby faces featuring Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and maybe others. Okay. Again, the chaos part was better than they did it on SmackDown. On SmackDown, they just allowed John Cena to get stomped forever and ever. Here, Cody and Jey Uso, they're playing Captain Save 'em. They see some unfairness, they getting involved. That's what babyfaces should do. Not that babyfaces are all friends, but that babyfaces should also be thwarting heel behavior because it's the right thing to do. Sometimes you do the right thing because it's the right thing to do and because you're a good person, not necessarily because all babyfaces are friends. In this situation, they have already established that not all babyfaces are friends because Jey Uso doesn't like Kevin Owens, but he still helped him. Sami Zayn is his dog. So, you know, of course he's going to help him. Cody and Jey don't necessarily get along, but they still help each other because it's the right thing to do. And Jey Uso is on a redemption tour, which at one point Kevin Owens was on a redemption tour. So it helps this story for the characters to have layers and for you to just have a general principle that good guys help people. As a general principle, it works in the story. Yes, I'm tired of the matches. I'm tired of Judgment Day runs Monday Night Raw. I'm tired of Judgment Day and Cody. I'm tired of Judgment Day and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I'm tired of it. I'm just so over it. I don't know what to do. But at least here, it made some sense in terms of narrative. Moving on. Otis was defeated by Bronson Reed in the fat guy match. I mean, they said this fella, I think it was Bronson Reed, had a 24-inch neck. Brother, that's like a 5X shirt, isn't it? That's crazy. That's a lot of material. Otis has a 20-inch neck, which is like a 4X shirt. That's crazy. Sheesh. Can you imagine trying to dress these fucking guys? Anyway, they had a crazy match, you know, whatever. It was fun while it lasted. It wasn't very long. Otis pulled out a roll in this match, which surprised everybody, of course. It was Otis loses with the big splash after missing the Vader bomb. After this match, Chad Gable said they're going to watch some film in order to figure out what went wrong. Then they're interrupted by Ludwig Kaiser. Kaiser called them losers, saying that they celebrate losses. He was trying to impress Maxine Dupree, who told him to buzz off again. Chad Gable reminded him that he wants to be the Intercontinental Champion and sent him back to Gunther because, you know, Ludwig Kaiser also lost tonight. He lost to Tommaso Ciampa. The Ciampa-Kaiser match was okay, I guess you could say. It wasn't, you know, the best Tommaso Ciampa match. It wasn't the worst. Ciampa and Kaiser had gotten into an argument backstage, which led to Ciampa saying if he beat Kaiser, he wants a title match. Well, he did. And this was partly the fault of Giovanni Vinci. Giovanni Vinci was trying to interfere. He got hit. Then he laid down in the mat. That distracted the referee. For some reason, the referee cares so much about Giovanni Vinci's well-being. This led Kaiser to kick him out of the ring. Like, literally boot him out of the ring. So when he turned around, he got hit with a ripcord knee and pinned by Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa then demanded that Gunther sign the contract. So later in the episode, Gunther is appalled at the both of them. So Kaiser then places the blame to Vinci, saying, yeah, I would have won if it wasn't for him. So Gunther says he didn't want to hear no excuses. He's going to make Giovanni Vinci Ludwig Kaiser's responsibility. If he screws up, then Kaiser is going to have a problem with Gunther. And I was like, okay, now this is going to be fun. Because now you're incentivizing Vinci to screw up because he's not going to be responsible for himself. So that could be fun. That could be interesting. And they're going to do the contract signing for Ciampa versus Gunther next week. Hopefully that matches at Fastlane. Because Fastlane as a card is looking skinny. It's looking thin. As usual when it comes to Triple H. It's looking thin as a card. Ludwig Kaiser has multiple storylines going on right now. His relationship with Gunther, his relationship with Vinci, and his relationship with Maxine Dupree and Alpha Academy. So he's doing like multiple things. The character has layers to him because he's doing something different with Maxine Dupree than he is with Gunther. And now he's going to be an underling for Gunther, but he's going to have to be the superior of Giovanni Vinci. So he's going to be somewhere stuck in the middle, where he's going to be taking orders and giving orders at the same time. So that ought to be interesting to see how his character develops once he gets a little bit of authority, considering He doesn't really supposed to have any authority. But going to Tommaso Ciampa is going to be a really fun match. I'm looking forward to that. All right, so Becky Lynch is backstage. She's polishing the NXT title because it's not fruity colored enough. Then she runs into Tegan Knox, speaking of fruity colors, and said she saw Tegan Knox at the curtain last week, ready to jump out there. What happened? So Tegan Knox was talking about, how she played deference to Natty. Natty's been here for a long time. She respects Natty, so she gave Natty the opportunity. So then Becky Lynch says, well, look, you can't do that. You have to show your worth. I want you to come out there and show me what you can do. I want you to be next, regardless of what happens after No Mercy. I want to be able to defend this title against you. So she goes to Bullethead Adam Pearce and starts saying, hey, I would like to have an NXT championship match, like he runs NXT or something like that. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, Natalya comes in, says that she would like a rematch for the NXT title. So then Tegan Knox says, well, look, you had your chance, you lost, let's move on. And Natalya says, well, that's just Becky Lynch trying to derail and distract her hungriest competitor. So she's like, you think you're hungrier than me? And it get into a bickering and argument about it, to which Natalya says, if you think you have more passion than me, I would like you to say it to my face. And I was like, oh my God, no, they're not. And what a goddamn rib they did. Tegan Knox versus Natalya. What a rib. What a rib. Anyway, the double down on the joke. There was a dueling chant. Let's go Tegan. Let's go Natalya. Where were they? They were in Canada, so I'm not surprised. Tegan Knox wins with the shiniest thing or whatever the hell they call it. Shiny wizard. Shiniest wizard. Is that what they call it? The shiniest wizard. So now she's back on TV. She's beating Natalya. Auntie Natalya can get out of here. Go get pregnant. Go raise her puppies or kittens or whatever the hell. Just literally do anything else. Natalya needs to go and learn, take her HVAC test and start fixing water heaters or something. She needs to go do something else. She needs a new job. All right. She needs to be like a comic book artist or like stuff some pillows with feathers. Literally go do anything else outside of wrestling. Tegan Knox, I don't like Tegan Knox. And normally, if it was NXT and I was having Tegan Knox shoved in my face all day, I would be just as angry about her. But she's been off TV for like months. So, okay. She hasn't been around long enough to get on my nerves again yet. But Natalya, oh my God, please go bye-bye. Please go bye-bye. I don't understand why Natalya has to be the measuring stick of the women's division, you know? Whenever somebody's got to get a push, they got to go through Natalya first. Like, bro, we don't need Natalya to, to go out there and show people, like, show us what you got. We're going to put you against Natalya. No. Natalya makes people fall asleep. She makes people change the channel. Showcase people against Natalya. Let's just move on, man. Let's just move on. Seth Rollins, who looks like more of a lesbian than Tegan Knox. He comes out there, again, looks like he's wearing women's clothes. Again, he's been wearing women's clothes for weeks now. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to keep saying it because he keep doing it. He looks like he's wearing women's clothes. So he says, once more, he wants to fight Shinsuke Nakamura. And if Nakamura does not respond, he's moving on. He's going to find a new contender. Nakamura pops up on the screen. Says that he has restraint while Seth Rollins has no patience. That Seth Rollins showed all of his cards. So he wants a match that is so brutal that Seth Rollins will never walk again. And he will humiliate his family. He wants a last man standing match. Seth Rollins accepts it. Says that Shinsuke Nakamura played this one perfectly. He thinks he got the perfect setup. But the broken back is not a weakness. It is a strength. Which literally doesn't make any sense. And that his family can only be humiliated if he gives up. And he doesn't give 100%. You can't give me that my broken back is a strength thing. That literally is dumb. How about just break your fingers then? Break your shoulder then. How about that? Since, injured body parts in a fight is a strength. That's stupid. Don't say stupid things. Anyway, afterwards, Ricochet, who's on crutches, says he's got some unfinished business with Shinsuke Nakamura. He wants to fight him whether he's a champion or not after Fastlane. Who cares about Ricochet, really? Really, who gives a damn? I don't. Do you? I don't care about Ricochet at all. The highlight of the evening, Dragon Lee versus Dominic Mysterio for the NXT North American title. One hell of a match. People have been saying Dominic Mysterio sucks. They've been saying that for literally years now, since he started. I think he's starting to come into his own. A lot of this was Dragon Lee helping him through this match, and you can tell, as you watch it, that Dragon Lee was doing the heavy lifting. He's the one with the most experience in the match, even though I think he might be the younger man. But this match was phenomenal. Dragon Lee bust out a lot of really cool moves, because that's really all he was called on to do. They did do a vignette for him earlier. They didn't let him cut a promo. They didn't let him talk and try to get himself over. They just put him in the ring and let him go out there and do a bunch of flips. And did that over-the-top rope Hurricane Rana joint, which, you know, some people have never seen before. And the crowd got behind him. Some really good near falls with the elevated power bomb. You know, and then the finish. The finish comes with Dragon Lee getting crotched on the top rope. Then he falls off and right in position for the frog splash. Dominic Mysterio doesn't just win this match, but he won the match clean. He did not cheat. He did not pull the tights. He did not rake the eyes. Nobody interfered. He won the match clean. And it's all relative, of course, because, you know, hitting somebody in the nuts technically is not legal, but he didn't actually hit him in the nuts. It was fortuitous that his balls got hit on that top rope. But great outing for Dragon Lee. Fantastic match for Dominic Mysterio. I was very excited for both of these guys. It was really good. This made me not so upset about Raw. This was very good. Next, Nia Jax cut a promo. Not good. Not good at all. Called herself the baddest human in WWE. Not woman. Human. So I guess there's like crickets or bears or something like that that are badder than Nia Jax in WWE. But not humans. How really weird that is. She started talking about all the people that she squashed, and, you know, Rhea Ripley, and Piper Niven, Chelsea Green, all these people who were squashed, and put anybody in the ring with her, she's going to squash them. Zoe Stark marches to the ring with all the charisma of a dry rice cake. She gets in Nia Jax's face and says, "Oh, you squashed me, yeah, sure, but that was behind my back. I dare you to do it right now." So then Nia Jax muffed her and basically bowled her on over, and then proceeded to beat her ass and win the match between the two of them with the bonsai drop, what they call the Annihilator. I'm fine with, like, again, I don't hate that Nia Jax is back. Her promo was awful though. Like, it was legit terrible. I'm the baddest human in WWE. It got a lot of heat because, you know, she's got heat grandfathered in though. Like, people hate her from the last time she was here. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's easy for Nia Jax to get heat. Everybody hates her. But Zoe Stark, please. She's in a tough spot, I tell you. She's a tough spot, I tell you. She gets no respect. Anyway, Miz and Drew McIntyre, they had a segment. Now, this was a very good segment too, which also helped me a lot in liking this show. So, Miz and Drew McIntyre, we're going to cut through, because this segment was very, very long. It was probably too long. Where Miz was talking about how Drew McIntyre not helping is a very Miz thing. Not helping Jey Uso and being all about yourself, very Miz-like. So then, Drew McIntyre denies being anything like The Miz. But as The Miz talks, Drew McIntyre starts adding in little amens. It was kind of a, not like hallelujah or whatever, but it was kind of like, yeah, you're right. You know, you got a good point. They beat my ass and embarrassed me in front of my home country. Yeah, that was Jey Uso. He did that to me. Karma's a bitch. You know, like, he sucks. So Miz was about to start on Cody. He was about to start with this whole Cody Drew McIntyre thing, but he got interrupted by New Day. So then Kofi Kingston says some of the weirdest stuff out of his mouth by saying, "We look up to you, Drew." I'm like, you look up to Drew McIntyre? What? Aren't you like older than Drew McIntyre? Anyway, New Day looks up to Drew McIntyre because he's Superman, Captain America. I don't know. They looked up to Drew McIntyre. They expect Drew McIntyre to do the good and honorable thing. The Drew McIntyre that they know, the Drew McIntyre that they know and love and look up to and idolize is not a coward. That Drew McIntyre that they used to call Big D, now there's some shrinkage. His sword is going limp. And so Drew McIntyre is pissed. He's like, look, nobody did anything. I didn't see you guys come out here and help Jey Uso either. Don't you remember all the horrible things he did? And New Day was like, yeah, but, you know, that wasn't the time to take it out on him. You don't just stand around and let this guy get jumped like this. They didn't respond to the part where he said, you guys didn't do anything either, because they didn't. You know, like, he had a really good goddamn point. What are you criticizing me for? You guys didn't do anything. So they end up getting each other's faces, and Kofi and Drew McIntyre end up having a match. These guys have been having matches since 2009. If I would have Googled it, I think they probably had matches in 2007. These guys have been wrestling on this show for a really, really, really long time. Really long time. Okay? Not saying that's a bad thing or a good thing. It's just, I remember them matches in like 2007 for the Intercontinental title on SmackDown and stuff. These guys have been around for a long time. In any event, Drew McIntyre wins the match because Kofi Kingston was distracted as Ivar of the Viking Raiders attacked Xavier Woods, just beat the tar out of him. As soon as Kofi turns around, Claymore pinned. Drew McIntyre then walks away and allows Ivar to beat the tar out of Kofi Kingston. He also does the moonsault on Kofi, crushed his pelvis and thighs and everything about his lower body. Drew looked back, you know, Undertaker style, took the heat in and just kept on walking. He's not helping nobody. And so Ivar comes out there looking like a beast, an absolute monster. You know, he looked better by himself than he did in the Viking Raiders. I could say that pretty open and honestly. Ivar is actually kind of not bad when he's by himself. You know, he's a big fat guy, but he's agile and he looks the part. He looks like a guy you don't want to run into in an alley or in a bar or anything like that. He might snatch your jawline out of place, you know? Like he might kick you in the eyeball and, you know, you end up having to sue him. You know, he looks like that kind of guy. Like a 80s territory heel. I like it. So, the reasoning he beat up the New Day is because they put Eric on the shelf. So it was an eye for an eye type of situation for them. Okay. So Ivar by himself is much better than the Viking Raiders. Maybe we could leave that other guy at home. Maybe he's the boring one. Maybe he's the one that sucks. Because Ivar is big fat, but he's also the guy who had a sense of humor. He's also the guy who's fat and agile. So maybe he's a positive. And I also like that they're actually using the guy who's not injured in a tag team. They didn't even do that with Pretty Deadly. When Prince got injured, they didn't even use Kit Wilson. But here they're actually using Ivar. So that's fine. And, you know, add him to the super heavyweight tier with Otis and Bronson Reed, and you might have something there. I don't know where you can go with them in terms of being a solo act. He certainly can't be like a mid-card champion or even a world champion. But he's looking impressive. Let's just leave it at that. He's actually looking a little bit more impressive than Bronson Reed, who is the guy that they're actually pushing here. All right, so in terms of Monday Night Raw, this actually has been better than previous weeks. The Drew McIntyre Miz segment, I think, was probably the best, the highlight of the show next to the Dominic Mysterio Dragon Lee match. Drew McIntyre is frustrated. He's tired of, you know, helping people out and, you know, he's a guy with a long memory. You know, Kevin Owens is the only other person on this show that seems to have a long memory about, you know, Jey Uso screwing him over and other people screwing him over too. And he's tired of it. You know, he doesn't have Sami Zayn there or a Sami Zayn to lighten the mood, to, you know, smooth out the rough edges. So he's got there doing it alone. And in terms of character dynamics, how Drew McIntyre has always operated. I used to talk about Drew McIntyre in terms of of character analysis during the pandemic, and about how Drew McIntyre was of the warrior archetype, which has this sort of transpersonal goal or this transpersonal mission, that it doesn't matter who his friends are or family or whoever, he'll turn his back to them, he'll ignore them in order to pursue his personal goal. And that's essentially what he's doing right now. This is why it's so effective for this character, because he did it before when he was buddies with Sheamus as the world champion, and Sheamus was getting his ass beat sometimes, and Drew McIntyre wouldn't come out there and help him. It was similar. So it's a consistent story with Drew McIntyre that he doesn't help people. You know, he's inwardly focused on his own goal, either to maintain the championship or to attain the championship or whatever. He has a goal that has nothing to do with other people. So that actually makes sense. And so I enjoyed it from that perspective, because it is consistent with his character going back several years now. I enjoyed Jey Uso coming out there to help in the main event, because it's part of his redemption tour. No, Kevin Owens doesn't want him to help. No, he doesn't really like Kevin Owens, but he has a personal relationship with Sami Zayn. He wants to make sure Sami Zayn gets a fair shake. So that was important. I like that element. Cody is trying to help Jey Uso along in his personal redemption tour, and he also doesn't like Judgment Day, so him coming out there to help is also very good. I like that Kevin Owens is still very standoffish. It's consistent with his character. So consistency with the characters is a good thing. Damian Priest has been a very understated Money in the Bank. Like, he doesn't even tease the Money in the Bank anymore. I think they want you to forget that he has it, so that when he cashes it in, it's a surprise. But also, Damian Priest's booking has also been very strange, because he's not being booked like a guy who's going to end up being world champion one day or something like that. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. Dominic Mysterio and Dragon Lee, I think this was a coming out party for both guys, especially for Dominic Mysterio, who everybody thinks is terrible, and oh, he can't have any good matches. He has to get carried by guys like Seth Rollins or Cody or whatever. I think on this show, he showed that he can hang. If you put him in the right position and you give him enough time, he can hang. He didn't look bad here. Again, clearly Dragon Lee was carrying him, but he didn't look bad. Bronson Reed desperately needs to cut promos. He beat Otis. This was a big victory. And they went to Otis to give an opportunity to reflect on the loss, which is okay. That's fine. But you also needed Bronson Reed to put over his victory and to celebrate his victory, even if it is just a threat to the next person who's going to be on his hit list or whatever the case may be. Him just working matches and disappearing. No, you can't do that. You have to actually build upon his victories. The Becky Lynch, Tegan Knox stuff, it reeks of Becky Lynch is trying to help people out. Tegan Knox doesn't have it. You know, I've watched enough Tegan Knox. I know she ain't got it. Now, maybe if she turns heel, because I haven't seen heel Tegan Knox yet, so maybe if she turns heel, it'll be something there. But as babyface, Tegan Knox ain't got it. It ain't going to work out. It's going to be shit. But I'm willing to give it. She might have learned something in the last year. She ain't been on TV. You know? Ciampa and Gunther, good stuff. The stuff between Gunther and the rest of Imperium is also very good. They're creating tension within that group. Now they're creating tension within the tension of the group. The only thing I really don't care for on this show a lot is the amount of Judgment Day we get. And that big head bastard, JD McDonough. I don't really like that guy, but whatever. Seth Rollins is becoming a problem. All right. It's just, Nakamura has been resuscitated through these promos, these video packages. I've enjoyed them. It's just, I find it hard to get into the Nakamura Rollins feud. I'm just having a hell of a time getting into that thing. I thought the one match that they had was good. I think Seth Rollins said this is his first last man standing match. I don't know how true that is, but I find it very hard to get into that feud, and it doesn't seem like Seth Rollins is the top guy. You know, it just doesn't feel that way to me. Gunther feels like the ultimate final boss on this show. You know, it feels like the guy you have to go through the grunts to get to him. He's the unbeaten and the vicious Gunta. You know, he feels like the star. He feels like he's the world champion. While Seth Rollins feels like he's the Intercontinental Champion. He's scrappy, willing to fight anybody at any time, anywhere. It just doesn't feel main event. You know, it doesn't feel, it's lacking in punch. Overall, though, I think this show was fairly solid. I didn't hate it as much as I usually hate it, despite the fact that Natalya and Tegan Knox were on the show at the same time. I still didn't hate it as much as I hated it last week. Maybe I was just in a better mood. You know, I don't know, but I didn't hate Raw that much this week. It wasn't great, don't get me wrong, but at least I enjoyed at least 2 of the matches, and I enjoyed a lot of the story elements that they were using. So there's no real reason for me to be pissy, you know. It was fine. Let me know what you guys think. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.